Hello, my bookish friends. Welcome back. I am Elizabeth. This is Reading Riley, and today I want to talk about a very specific book, and only that book. I'm taking you with me. We're going on a journey together, and that book is We Spread by Iain Reid. It is his newest release. I was not planning on vlogging this. It just happened because I had to talk about it. I just had to, and so as I was reading it, I just picked up my phone and started talking, and so here we are. And I'm so glad I did, because this book, there's so much to say. There's so much to say. As we get to the end, I am going to probably have a spoiler section. I will clearly mark it and mark it in the chapters so you can easily skip it if you have not read this yet. Just excited to tell you about it because I hated it. Or did I? This is going to be short and sweet, but I'm just going to put it out there because I can. So there's that. So I'm going to pop you right into the madness. Let's go. We're following Penny in this story, and it's made clear that she's an older woman and she's having struggles living by herself. Her partner has passed. Sorry if this is really shaky. And her partner arranged for her to move into this assisted living program, but he in particular was not your normal person. He was an artist. He was very eccentric. And so from the memories that she is giving us, that she's building on her partner who's passed away, we're getting this impression that this place is not going to be normal. It's not going to be your average place that she goes to, and it's not. So she has a fall and she has to move out. They've been waiting for her. She goes into this facility. It's very small. There's only 6 people that live there. Before her fall, she's kind of reminiscing about her life. She was an artist herself, although she didn't really consider herself that, but she has all these items that she's collected over her rich, cultured life. She reminisces about how amazing it was to just sit down and discuss art and poetry and books and just all of this vive, this like lust for life, you know. Before her incident, she's getting to a point where she's not enjoying life anymore. She's sitting by herself. She's eating soup, bland, tasteless soup. She has no appetite. She is just losing what gave her breath before, what gave her life. And so now she's moved into this facility and she doesn't remember making plans for this, but her partner set it up for her. So she's like, okay, I'll try it. The first meal she has there, it tastes amazing. It's like giving her life back. The first night, she sleeps through the night. She doesn't wake up fitful in the middle of the night, nothing. Oh, also, they've not mentioned her age this whole time. She's talking about the older people around her. They've never mentioned her age, and it's making me feel like maybe this is something that I need to remember or look out for. So I'm doing that. I love this general idea of, as you get older, you start to lose those things, your appetite, not just for food, but for life, and dissecting this idea of what life is about and what gives it value, and having to face that in your older age, something I find really interesting. So we'll see. I'm really liking it so far. I'm like 25%. Okay, I did not intend for this to be a come for a walk with me vlog, but apparently that's what it's turning into. I'm really awkward right now because I'm on this bridge and people keep walking by, so I'm trying not to be incredibly awkward, but you know, I can't help it. That's just who I am. Of the 6 people that live in this house, 4 of them are patients, or, you know, 2 of them are caretakers. Let's just say that. Shelly and Jack. And then of the other 4, we have Penny, who's our protagonist. And then we have Ruth, Hilbert, which is the old man name that I never knew that I always wanted, and Pete. This is everything I want it to be right now. It's everything that I have come to expect from Iain Reid. I've read Foe, and I've read, of course, I'm thinking of ending things. All of them are different. All 3 of these are different, but have the same like I don't even know what it is. So this still has that little bit of pretense, but it's wrapped in this, like, the way he words things, it's like it's being wrapped in this velvety cushion, and it just slips into your brain like jello, and I love it. I love it. I still think this is going to be a 5-star right now. I think I know what's happening. Here's the thing, we're getting the POV of Penny. Everything's from her perspective, so we don't know if she's unreliable or not. Weird shit's happening, she's missing time, but the only way we know that she's missing time is based on what these other characters are saying, so we don't know if that's real or not, or if they're like tricking her. You know what I'm saying? I'm loving this. I love this point of view. I love Penny. I love that we're talking about art and culture and wine and food and like all of these like scrumptious things that I love so much. Each one of these 4 people that live in this home are good at something different. Penny's an artist, Hilbert's a mathematician, Ruth is like a language expert, and Pete is a violinist, he's a musician. So like we have all these different facets of people, and they are all getting to know each other, and now there's weird shit happening. And I think I know where it's going. At this point, even if there's no big twist, even if it just goes in the direction that I think it's going in, I'm gonna be happy. So that's good. If there is a twist, that's gonna make me over the moon. There's this other element that I don't know if it's part of Penny's unreliability, or if it's gonna tie in somewhere. If it ties in, I'm gonna be very happy with that, because if it does, I can see how it may go. So yeah, I'm having a good time. I have like an hour and a half left of the audio, so I'm excited. In the spirit of this book, I highly recommend adult swinging. If you just want to smile. You can't help it. Can't help but smile. So at this point, obviously, I have finished this book. And I loved it. I loved it so much. I love Iain Reid. He is quickly just becoming one of my favorite authors. I want him to just keep writing, but I also like don't want to stress him to like do it. Not that he would listen to my opinion, but like I want him to take his time with it so that they're all this amazing, because I love all 3 of his books that I've read. And I know he has at least 2 other books, but they're memoirs. I'll probably end up checking those out as well, but I'm not as interested as his more philosophical, psychological, horror, his fiction books that have just, they're just mind fucks. They're mind fucks. Okay, let's talk. What I was saying earlier about there being this connection that I wasn't sure if it was going to connect or not, it didn't connect. It didn't connect. And I'll tell you about that in the spoiler section, but that's fine, because I still absolutely loved this book. I was not, I went into this expecting it to be one thing, and it was not, but it also was. That's the thing about Iain Reid's writing, is that he writes in a way that you finish the book and then immediately you're like, okay, now I have to start it over, because I had been thinking of it in this way for this whole time. Now I have to go back and start it from the beginning and change my perspective and think, well, what if it was this? The ending is ambiguous. I'm just going to tell you that off the bat. The ending is ambiguous. It is open for interpretation. This would be a perfect book club pick. If you have a book club and you haven't read this yet, pick it. Pick this one, because you could just go on and discuss and debate for hours, because really whatever your interpretation of it is correct. There's so many different ways to look at this. But essentially, we're wondering, is Penny losing her mind, or is there something really sinister going on in this assisted living house? The writing was incredible. I wish I had the physical book so that I could pick and point out little snippets for you, but I don't. But there are just so many things about life in here. Like, philosophical horror is dead on. That's pretty much exactly how I would say, what I would call this genre. It really makes you think, it makes you appreciate what you have, it makes you grateful, it makes you empathize with other people in this really profound way. You just fall in love with Penny. You just fall in love with her. You don't know if you can trust her, but you, like, she is the grandma that I wish I had. You know, my grandparents all died when I was a baby, so I never had grandparents, but I would have loved for Penny to be my grandma. She seems like an awesome person. And, you know, as I'm getting older, I appreciate older people. Now, more than I did in the past, like, I can start to appreciate the wisdom that comes with age, because I'm seeing that kind of distinct difference between me learning about the world around me, my own personal growth, not just intellectually, but maturity and the insight that that brings. I can appreciate not only the insight that comes with age, but also the fear, and how we can connect that to horror in this way that is just absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying, sad, and full of wonder. 100% recommend. Pick it up. Just do it. Pick it up. Before we get into spoilers, I want to show you this picture. And I just want you to Google it. That's it. Just Google it, because it's a really interesting concept and it's connected to this story. Okay, let's talk about spoilers. I'm going to put spoiler bar right up here, and it will stay there until I'm done talking about spoilers. If you do not want to be spoiled, go ahead and skip this part. I'm going to separate it in the chapter so it's easy to skip. So if you're watching this on your phone, just double click there with 2 fingers and it should take you right to the end of this chapter. So let's talk about spoilers. First of all, I read this ending 3 times before I even had any idea that Penny was standing on the edge of a cliff and may or may not have walked off of the edge of the cliff. Did not understand. I had to read so many reviews. I just sat there dumbfounded for like 3 hours when I finished this book. But the more I think about it, the more I absolutely love it. So the way this ends, you don't know if Penny killed herself or if she is just lost in her own mind. You don't know if all of this weird stuff that's been happening to her is the result of her mental capacity deteriorating, or if this is something sinister going on. Now, I went into this assuming that there was going to be something sinister happening. And when I got to the end of the story, it wasn't confirmed, but it could have been. But then I thought, what if it's not? And now, as I go back and think about things, I'm like, oh my gosh, it really all could have been in her mind. She talks about the hallways changing, and there are walls there where there weren't before, and she's getting lost in this house. That could all be figurative mental blocks in her mind closing off, and it could be representing so much more than it actually is. Her caretaker's name is Shelley. Is this a Frankenstein reference? I feel like it probably was, because I think Iain Reid is clever, and it's spelled the same as Mary Shelley. So why wouldn't it be? You know what I mean? She's the one that, if you're on the side of there's something sinister happening, she would be the culprit, the one pulling the puppet strings. It would make sense that she would be compared to Dr. Frankenstein. The part that I was talking about it connecting was there was this one scene where she sees her dead husband. I thought, what if the dead, well, technically he's not her husband, they were partners, but they never were married. But what if he never died? And he set up this, because he was obsessed with his legacy. And he set up this thing, this whole situation for her to join, because he wanted that to be his legacy. And they were doing experimentation about memory, the Pando trees. They're all connected. They're all one tree. They're one system. What if that was the same for them? I don't know. Like, you could argue both ways. That's why I love it so much. Some kind of biological creation that they were making, and he was the mastermind behind the whole thing. So I was thinking that throughout the book too. That was the connection that I was like, is it going to make it? But no. And now I don't even trust myself that that scene even actually happened. And then I don't trust my memory, which makes this book even scarier because it's fucking true. It's fucking real, dude. Dad. And like, Did that happen? I don't know. I don't trust my memory. The existential dread. Oh my God, the existential dread. It's like, it's the worst kind of horror because it's real life horror. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. It's a real life horror. Fear of aging and your body declining. And especially your mental capacity declining and diminishing. It's one thing to just know that you're getting old and, you know, your body starts to fail you and everything hurts more than it used to, and, you know, you pull a muscle when you sneeze. That's one thing. But to lose every piece of insight that you've gained across your entire life, every memory, everything that makes your life worth living, to lose that, that's totally different. That's a horse of a different color. You know, that's some scary shit right there. And I've never dealt with dementia, but I have heard some scary stories. And so if you have, I would say maybe don't go into this book because it'd probably trigger you. I feel like there's so much more to say, but I can't, like, my brain's not functioning. So I'm gonna leave it at that. If you want to talk about the spoilers, do like a bunch of lines of asterisks or something, you know, so it doesn't spoil other people in the comments, because I hate that. I don't want anyone to get spoiled that doesn't want to get spoiled. But if you want to talk about spoilery stuff, just, you know, drop it down however many lines so that you can't see it in the preview and write spoilers. Yeah, this book was just incredible. It's amazing. I love how Iain Reid thinks. I love his brain. I'm fascinated by him. I have a crush on him. I think he is brilliant and clever. I'm just so impressed. I can't wait for another one. Like, I'm already on the edge of my seat for another one. If you haven't picked this up yet, get it. I think it's on SCRIBD right now. I think it's on SCRIBD, and I know it's on Audible. Check your library. The audiobook, also fantastic. Very much enjoyed. And that's it. I'll see you guys later.